Okay, so after we have planned, we will go to the next group, that is execution. So this is your P, this is your D, do work. When we are doing work, we will have some work results, and then we are going to check. We are going to do this monitor and control process. So first important thing that we discussed yesterday is when you should do this deliverable check, or when you do this monitor and control.
Starting from the first phase.
Yes, but we will not. What should be the frequency when we should do this process?
After do.
After do, we have this PDCA, D, C, A.
Change. Close or change.
Close or change. And from change, it will be updated here and we'll go to do again. We will plan everything and then we'll start doing it. And when we do it, we will have to do it in a proper sequence. There is no way everything will be going concurrently, isn't it? There is an order. What we'll do is we'll do deliverable by deliverable. We'll focus at one deliverable first. In the next knowledge area, you will see how we identify the activities and do other activities. So we are assuming that everything is done. We are into execution phase. We are doing direct and managed project work. And then we have completed the entire work and the soup is ready. When the soup is ready, then only we will take it to monitor and control project work. But before we do the monitor and control project work, we need to check the deliverable for the correctness with respect to scope. We will do the control scope. So the control scope is what? What do we do in control scope? I told you yesterday, we will simply compare our actuals with what we had planned. Isn't it? Monitoring and controlling is what? You will have some actuals, you are going to compare those actuals with what you had planned. With respect to scope, there are two stages of it. First is this control scope, which is done by the project performing team. What they need is, they need to know what was to be delivered, what and how was it to be, what was to be delivered, how it was to be delivered, which requirement it was supposed to fill, how it has been delivered. Work performance data is your, what is it? The raw data, the raw observation, isn't it? What was to be done, how it was to be done, what was the requirement, what is the source of the requirement, and how it has been done. So we have the plan and we have the actual, and we are going to do a variance analysis. We will compare and then we will say whether it is as per plan or not. Is it clear? So work performance information is what?
Work performance report or
No. Work performance data is a raw data. Work performance information is the analyzed data, process data or analyzed data. This work performance information, do you remember that monitor and control process of integration yesterday? One of the input in that was work performance information. And I told you that first of all we are going to check, we are going to do a variance analysis for each and individual subsidiary knowledge area. And from that we will get the work performance information that okay, with respect to scope, if there is any amount of variance. So it will say okay, in this deliverable there are supposed to be 3 features. We had the requirement said that we need 3 functionalities in this deliverable. we will have the raw data that okay, how many functionalities have been met, and then we do a variance analysis, we do a comparison, and then we say okay, we actually missed out on one functionality, and now we need to know that the missing of that one functionality, how it is going to impact our overall project. So we will use this work performance information as an project work, which is a sub part of your integration management. And integration is a high level process which is done for the entire project, and we will use that information here. And here we are going to see that missing of one functionality with respect to scope, what impact it has on the overall project. And based on that we will have the work performance report, and we will take the appropriate actions. Are you able to understand this logical flow? Logical flow is very, very important. So what we need is our PM plan, documentation, traceability matrix, work performance data, and OPA. Everyone knows why we need this. We will do the variance analysis, where we will compare our actuals with what we had planned, and the output will be your WPI, which is the analyzed data, and your change request. The key objective of all this monitoring and control processes is to look for change. Identify if any change has happened or not. If the change has happened, find out why this change has happened and take appropriate corrective or preventive action. This change request can be to do some defect repair, or it can be to influence the factors which will help you preventing the occurrence of this variance in the future. For example, you missed one functionality. In the quality, you do the root cause analysis, and you find out because the resources do not have the adequate training. What you will do now is you will raise a change request. Why we need a change request? That we require some additional funding because we have realized that our people do not have adequate knowledge about this. So it is going to impact the cost, it is going to impact your budget, and we are assuming the entire plan is finalized now, so it will have to go through the change process. So we are influencing the factor which will help us missing these functionalities in the future. Is it clear? Any doubts? Okay. Other process in monitoring control is our validate scope. So what happens is, this soup is, let's say that soup is prepared. So we planned, and then we did our work, and then we need to do check. With respect to the scope, the check is a two-step process. Okay. First is your control, where the project performance team will check whether the output is as per plan or not, the scope has met or not. Second is going to be your validate scope. And between this and control, after check you will have one more process in between, that is your QC. How it happens? We prepared our soup, the soup is ready, deliverable is done. Now it goes to the check. So the first of all, the chef will open the vessel, or he will check whether it looks like soup or not, it is soup or not. Okay, it is soup, this is done. Now the chef will take a spoon and will taste it. What he is going to taste? He is going to check it for the spiciness of it, tanginess of it, temperature and the thickness.
Quality assurance.
No, quality control.
Control.
Assurance is not here. This is in monitor and control. Assurance we do in execution. We'll talk about that day after tomorrow. Chef will check for these parameters and he will always be proud of his own product and he will say, wow, delicious, yummy soup. He will then serve this soup to the project manager or the stakeholder or senior stakeholder or let's say the sponsor or the customer. Now the soup goes to the customer. Suppose you are in a hotel, not at home where you invite the guest. Because at home, even if it is bad, guests will still say yummy, delicious, tasty. But if you are paying for it, if you are in a restaurant, the customer will have one say and check whether it is correct or not, otherwise he will send it back. So now you present it to the customer. Customer will also taste it and he is also going to check on these parameters. He will say yes, it is spicy, it is tangy, it is not sweet, temperature is fine, but he will say no, it is not thick. I had asked for thick soup. Okay, so we have this two-step check. First is the project performing team is doing a QC, then they are passing it. Once it is passed, then it goes to the customer, and customer is the final authority who will decide whether it is as per the requirements given or not.
Means a validate scope means a user acceptance test.
Absolutely correct. UAT.
But
Yes.
quality check is supposed to check all those 4 parameters, isn't it?
Yes, we have already checked it from our own assumption or our own parameters. But this will have to be accepted by the customer also. Thickness is subjective. Can you measure the thickness? Can there be a parameter for thickness? No. In restaurant, there is no way you have the tools to check the viscosity of this. Isn't it? So it is subjective, so the customer will have to check whether it is okay or not. And once the customer approves it, then this deliverable will be called as your accepted deliverable. So we have 3 stages of a deliverable. First is coming from do. That is our simple deliverable. Then coming out of this quality control. This is your verified or validated deliverables. And so first is your raw data, raw deliverable, output of this do. It will be checked by the project performing team and then it will be called as verified or validated deliverables, and then it will be presented to the customer or the sponsor, and they are the final authority to say yes, it is as per my requirements and I accept this and I confirm this deliverable as completed. And this will be a part of your list of all the accepted deliverables. Now, do you remember that process what we saw yesterday in integration? In closed project or phase process, we are going to prepare a list of all the deliverables which are accepted by the customer, and we are going to share that list with our customer in the end. That okay, as per plan we were supposed to give you 30 deliverables and all have been delivered and accepted by you, so the project is closed. Is it clear? So we will, if it is not accepted here, let's say it passed through the QC, from the performing team said this is all is fine, but the customer said no, the thickness is not good, I didn't like it. Then what will happen is, from here it will go to your, from check it will go to your act, and from act it will go to change. You'll find out, you'll do the root cause analysis that why it is thick. That you'll do in quality. We'll do the root cause analysis and we will identify the factor which has influenced this, and we will do the work again. Is it clear? Is it as clear as crystal or as clear as mud? Crystal or in between?
क्रिस्टल क्लियर तो एग्जाम देने के बाद ही पता चलेगा.
Crystal clear तो एग्जाम से पहले आपको पता लगना चाहिए. But are you able to follow the logical flow? That is most important. Sir, is it clear to you? Sure? Great. So that is about your project scope management. And now we will go to our this process where what we need is our requirement documentation, our traceability matrix, validated deliverable which are coming from the QC, and also the raw data. And we do the inspection. Inspection is always done on finished goods, service or result. Inspection is always done on output. We will do the inspection and then we will either accept it or reject it. If rejected, it will go through the change request. And we will also have work performance information. What is work performance information? Analyze raw data. Okay. If there is a variance, what is the degree of that variance? Identify the variance and the degree of variance. Knowing that you have followed or you are following the right processes. When we do the quality tomorrow, the next day, we will talk about the quality assurance and quality control. So there are certain activities which you need to do in execution to ensure that you are following the right process, you are following the right approach and right technique, and this will give you the desired result. Once it is executed, then it will go to the QC, quality control, and that is monitoring control. So I think the work that you are saying is actually a part of your execution. Like code review. So you check for what? You check for the cleanliness of the code. Because what happens is the product which is developed, suppose your team has developed that, you will deploy that, and then the customer will give you a maintenance contract for 1 year. Maintenance is being done by some other team. Suppose after 6 months they identify a bug and they raise a query to the maintenance team. Maintenance team opens that code and they actually have a tough time in debugging that, because the coding standard is if you are opening a loop at one point of time at one place, you must maintain that hierarchy and must close the loop at the same location. So the team who is looking at the code can find out that yes, this code was opened, the loop was open and it is closed also.
And indentation should be proper.
Indentation should be proper. If that is not proper, imagine how difficult it is going to be for the maintenance team. So for that purpose, you follow some coding standards, cleanliness of the code. Okay, so you will ensure that while the code is being written, you are ensuring that the standards are being followed. For that, you will do code reviews from time to time. That is a part of your quality assurance, which you will do in execution, as a part of execution in quality next.
Sometimes some variants are acceptable, as an end product.
As an end product, yes, that is accepted because of your acceptance criteria.
No, apart from the acceptance criteria, sometimes it is accepted. Like for example, if I am supposed to provide a copper pipe, instead of that I am providing a plastic one.
Okay.
And it's accepted by the client, right? Due to certain reasons.
Okay.
So that is accepted.
Due to certain, suppose you initially agreed that you are going to provide the copper piping.
Correct.
Okay. You started working on the project and midway you realize the copper pipe is not available, or the cost of pipe has gone many times up. Earlier it was coming as 1000 rupees a ton, now it is coming 15,000 rupees a ton. Now the type of contract you have, suppose it is cost reimbursable or time and material. If it is a fixed price contract, then what you do?
You have to send a variation request.
No. If it is a fixed price contract, it is your mistake because you were not able to visualize that what are the factors which can impact you in future.
Even lump sum contract?
If it is no fixed price or lump sum contract is same thing.
Okay.
If it is a time and material contract, so the customer is going to pay for the each and every material. Then you cannot say that okay, the cost is increased, so let us use the plastic pipes and bill it to the customer. Customer will approve it. At the time of acceptance, customer comes and says, why did you put the plastic pipe? I asked you to do copper. And then you get into the argument and discussion and somehow they accept it. But that is a wrong approach. When you go to the market and you realize the copper price has increased, at that time you must consult with the customer.
No, it could be two way. I am giving a plastic pipe. Like what we do is, if I am giving a plastic pipe, even in a fixed contract or whatever, there will be a cost saving. This cost saving is passed on to the client.
Yes.
So he will accept that.
But even if it is there, you must consult, because from your perspective, the plastic piping may look alright, but customer may have some other requirement. You remember that example of the plant, power plant? You had civil, you had design, you had engineering, you had instrumentation and automation. Your one variation in civil can impact significantly in your automation or electrical or plumbing work. How can you decide whether this will be accepted or not? This has to be accepted by the authority who knows that where this work is going to be linked to the other areas. So even if it is a cost saving for the customer, you must take it to the customer and take their approval first. No. As per the best practices, as per the standard, you are not allowed to take decision at your own. Even if it is resulting in the cost saving for the customer or the organization. But strictly no.
We can send a request to them, isn't it?
You will have to send a
variation
request.
request.
You will have to send a request. It will have to follow through the change control process. You can dare do anything that you want, but you will have to follow the processes. I am not saying don't change it, but do it the way it is advised in PINBOK. Is it clear? Fine. So we will have the validate scope and control scope we already talked about, and with this we come to quiz. Correct. Acceptance is the correct one, because completeness is fine, but the completeness will be in what process? Control scope or maybe the QC. Here we are talking about the validated scope, and the validated scope we take the acceptance from the customer. So the acceptance is the most important thing. No, there has to be one answer.
Then C.
What about you, sir?
C.
Correct answer is B. The question says which of the following is not true? A is true, C is true, D is true, but B is not true. Subdivide until it can be done by a single person. No. We don't even think whether it will be done by one person or 10 persons. Okay. Well, the correct answer is C. So it is asking you, it is giving you, it is asking you specifically the detailed description of the WBS element. So project management plan is
The collection.
I'm not saying it is a wrong answer for this. Project management plan is a collection of all these things. But here it is asking for the specific document, and from this specific one, WBS dictionary. Okay. And that is all about scope. So how was it? Interesting?
Informative.
Sorry?
Informative.
Informative? Interesting?
Interesting.
Has it cleared some of the doubts from yesterday? The integration management, the process high level there. Now slowly and slowly we will be getting more clarity on those processes that we learned yesterday. Is it
More
clear?
like a tendering process, is it? Or not?
Sorry, we are going to define our approach, that how the schedule will be created, managed and documented.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Excuse me.
We waited for some time, then probably this is started. So What you need is your project time management, charter, EEF and OPA. What we need is our expert judgment, meetings and analytical techniques. So what analytical techniques we need? We need to do the analysis that what are the factors which are influencing or it can impact our schedule, isn't it? And we are going to come up with our schedule management plan. So this schedule management plan will have the unit of duration, whether the duration will be estimated or calculated and maintained in hours, weeks, minutes or days. Who are the people who are going to manage that? What is the permissible tolerance or not permissible, acceptable tolerance? Because when we do the estimation, here the requirements and the deliverables are clear-cut concrete. But in time management, we need to estimate how much time this work should take. And that estimation is based on assumptions. And your assumptions can go wrong also. Okay. So if the assumptions go wrong, you need to document what is the permissible limit of variance. So if we have estimated that this particular piece of work is going to take 10 days time, we will say the permissible limit of variance for all the activities is plus minus 0.5 days or plus minus 1 day or plus minus 6 hours. We will give that much of space assuming that the assumptions can go wrong. And who are the people who are going to create the schedule? Who are the people who are going to maintain that schedule? And also our EEF is going to tell us what are the time periods or the work periods when we cannot work. What are the schedule in which you are going to work, when we are not going to work. Like the public holidays, national holidays, the night shifts or day shift or whatever it is there. We will document that in our schedule management plan. And once we have defined our approach, then we move to the next process, which is define activity. So define activity is the next level of our WBS. Elaboration of these work packages. So we have this work package here, which is tomato soup, which is the last level of this WBS. When we break it further, when we do the decomposition further, all we are going to get is a list of activities that we need to do. So that is the process of defining the activities. So tell me what all activities we need to do to prepare the tomato soup?
Boil the tomato.
Buy tomatoes. And then buy spices. Then boil tomato.
Crush tomatoes.
Prepare spices. I'll come to that point also. Crush tomatoes. Prepare spices. Then mix them. Isn't it? And the last will be ready to serve. So in between, we can also have some other small activities like wash tomatoes, crush tomatoes, wash spices, wash the herbs and all these things. In our project also, when we do the work breakdown structure in our project, we can break down to the smallest level possible. Here we did the decomposition of the deliverable to the smallest level possible to have the better control. But here we will have to use this judicially. We cannot say that let us break this into the smallest level possible. We will have to define the activities at a level where we can optimally put a control on that. Suppose buying tomato is an activity. If I have to further elaborate that, I can break it this way: get out of the house, go to your parking, open the door, get inside car, drive to the market, park your car, go to vendor, negotiate, and all the detailed list of coming back also. Yes or no?
Yes.
But if you do that Imagine how difficult it is going to be for you to track and manage that activities. Instead of one activity, you can have 20 activities there. When you come to the tracking part, monitor and control, you will have to provide data for each and every level. So imagine how much time you will have to spend in updating those tasks. So your exercising control will require additional efforts and additional time, and on top of everything, it is not going to yield, or it is not going to give you some additional benefits. So you as a performing team will define at what level you want to exercise control, project control.
To prepare some vegetable, we require tomatoes also.
Soup.
No,
We
so-
we are not talking about that. Right now we are not talking about that. I'll come to that point also, but not now. Okay. Is this clear? To what level you have to break it?
Till the level we can manage and update. the
Absolutely.
activities.
Absolutely. Clear? Sir, is it clear? Little bit. What is not clear?
Actually, what's to manage tomato soup?
Yeah. See, we have to manage, we have to prepare tomato soup.
Yeah,
And for that we need to do some activities.
yeah.
Okay. Now those activities, I have taken this key high level activities which will cover the entire work that is needed to be done to deliver this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 activities. Who is stopping me from creating 600 activities to deliver the soup? Tell me what is the factor which is stopping me?
So time.
Time. It is an effort which is not going to give me the desired result, isn't it? My purpose is to ensure that whatever time is given for this deliverable is distributed in the right proportion, and we stick to that schedule and we follow the time. Okay. If I break it at the micro level, further smaller level, I will have to first of all collect the data, then only I can check, compare it to my with my planned value. If instead of one activity I break it into 10 activities, I will have to provide data values for those 10 activities. One activity, doing it for one activity and doing it for 10 activities, there is a different effort needed. Why to put that effort at that level when it is not needed? So rather we will keep it at this level that okay, buying tomato. We know that we have an activity buying tomato and it will require some amount of time, and we will just check whether in that time it is done or not. That is called as micromanagement and macro management. You as a project manager and the performing team will define to what level they want to exercise the control. Suppose the project is crucial, you want to have a very strict control on that. Then you can break that into two parts. Buying tomato will require first is travel and second is procurement. Then you can break that into two parts also.
Now what will happen? With this example, we have problem. Let's say buy tomatoes we have written, but
Okay.
now in that situation we have this kind of thing. Like I'll have to check whether tomato is available or not. So I may have to discard this activity itself from the chart activities that I am preparing.
Mhm.
So many times that happens. We discard that activity with previous example.
Why you discard the activity?
Because we feel that that is available. That is something is our assumption that tomato is available in this example.
Correct.
Similarly, we have this kind of example that okay, this thing is available with us, so we discard it. We even don't take into the consideration cost
Yes,
or
that is a
benefit.
mistake.
Yeah.
That is a mistake. Even if the raw material is available in-house, but we need to document. Suppose this tomato is at home, is at house. You will not consider 3 hours for that.
Yeah.
You will probably get 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yes.
Fine, do that. But what is the correct way of doing it? First of all, ensure that you have all the raw material with you.
What will happen? First time I will do that.
Yeah.
Buy tomatoes is fine. But then somebody is reviewing it, will say, no, we'll have that. For example, we have suppose the work breakdown structure
Absolutely.
into which I have this 10 items lookups,
Yeah.
customer lookup, vendor lookup, supplier lookup. Then the person who is reviewing the estimate would say, we have done in 10 projects, you are saying that supplier list and supplier form is going to take 40 hours?
Fine. So
we discard that.
you
Okay.
tell them that this is the correct way of doing it. Having an activity doesn't mean that you need to spend 3 hours on that.
Yeah.
Let this activity be as a basic checklist. Do we have all the proper information and resources to do the work or not? Whether it takes 0 minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes, that's a different thing. But the right way of doing it is, first of all, identify everything. Suppose when you have to do it, the culture that is followed, the practice, the general practice in the organization, in your organization is that whatever is available, you don't write down that as a part of activity.
No, we write down as part of activity, but let's say I have considered 40 hours, they'll say, oh, no, that can be done in 12 hours. So I deduct that, चलो 12 नहीं 16 रख के चलते, 4 घंटे का buffer रखा है.
Okay.
But then I'm not sure whether that thing is going to be developed by the person who has already developed that. 2 साल का बंदा कर रहा है 5 साल का.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
वो
We will come to that. Again, this is a challenge which you will have to use, for which you will have to use your communication and interpersonal skills. Okay? And even the smiling face will not help. The backup of information and data behind the smile is going to help you. If they say, no, it is going to take 12 hours, you must prepare, and if you know that this question is going to be asked, what you do is, you pick up the historical data. Past 10 projects, how many times you had the time over an Indian project? Okay? If someone in a presentation asking you that, okay, why to spend 40 hours on that? We can do it in 12 hours. And then you pull out the data, you immediately show from a backup slide. So this is the history of past 10 projects, where we assumed that it can be done in 12 hours time, but the project got delayed because it took 20, 22 hours, 25 hours time. Because this data availability is fine, but we need to fine tune it with the project requirement.
And most of company previous project data is not available for
Okay, if the data is not available, and if someone is going to say that no, this validation or the assumption that you have taken, it is wrong, you will have to defend. And oh, I thought it's water, some polish. So you will have to defend that. And how you can defend that? By having a proper estimation. In that case, what you do is, in your backup, you break it into all the smaller pieces, possible smaller pieces. Get out of the house, get into the car, start the car, drive to the market.
Yeah.
You know,
That is what we have.
that is called as the proper flow charting. Breaking down the process. Park the car, go to the vendor, negotiate with the vendor. Buy the tomatoes, pay the money, come back to your parking, get into the car, start the car, drive back, and park the car back and come home.
and give different heading.
And you tell them that okay, this require 2 minutes, this require 1 minute, this require 5 minutes, this require 30 minutes, and then you tell me, now if you want me to bring down this time, at which step you want me to bring down the time. And if you feel it is going to take 12 hours instead of 40 hours, tell me which step you are going to bypass and why. I am sure people most of the time will have no answer. You will have to use your communication skills and interpersonal skills. Do not humiliate or insult that person in open forum, because if you are attacking him, you are actually going to attack his or her ego. When the person get attacked on ego, they are going to not respond to it, but they are going to react to it. They may react now or they may react later. If they react then and there, it is fine. But if they react later, it is going to create problem.
And that is always a senior
Then-
person, because he is going
Yes. Then you tell them, sir, I have broken it down in this way. So please help me understand where all I can do that. You have to always ensure that whenever it comes to a decision making of this type, you are always passing the ball in some other person's court. Okay. Don't tell them that okay, I am going to do it this way. Your estimation is wrong. Instead of that, you tell them that, sir, this is what I have estimated. please help me understand where I can do that. The moment you use this word, he will say, okay, fine, cut down on this part. And then you tell them that, okay, if we had to cut down on this part, tell me how we can buy that, because my understanding is we won't be able to buy that. If you have prior experience, any project that has been handled, please connect me with the person and I'll take the input how it can be done. Of course, you may not use the same wordings because it may create some political impact in the organization, but you will have to use your interpersonal skill set. But if you have done your homework, if you are loaded with this data, no one in this world can challenge you at least on this part. When you do this, another advantage you are going to get is what? You are going to win the confidence of that senior person also. That yes, this lady knows about the work. Next time, when you are going to the same person with some estimation, he will not even question you. Because he knows that you have already done your homework. So you will see a resource who was a negative stakeholder here is turning out to be a positive stakeholder. That we are going to talk about in stakeholder management. Did you get the answer to your question or the point? Why should do that? Sure?
Sure.
Is it clear, sir? Okay. So after we have identified the activities that we need to do, now we need to find out in what order we are going to do that. What is the correct sequence you are going to follow? Okay. So buy tomato and buy spices. We have two activities. So suppose from here you need to go to a particular place in Ahmedabad where you get the where there is a wholesale fruits and vegetable market and you get best kind of tomatoes there. Okay. So what we decide is we'll go there. Travel time is 1 hour. Sorry, we'll do that later. You decide to go there, and then from your experience you know that there is a market next to it where you get the good quality spices, authentic spices. So are you going to do it like this, that go there, buy tomatoes, come back home, drop tomatoes, go there again and buy spices?
No.
No. We are going to identify all the pieces of work that can be completed by going there. And you will be able to identify that only when you have defined activities for each of the work package. Then comes your point. Then you find out, okay, we need tomato for this, we need tomato for this, we need tomato for this and for this. We need spices for this, this and this. So what you do is, you will mark those activities as the one which needs to be run in parallel.
So this is for your example of address control also.
Correct. This is for that also. Okay. You will identify what dependency these activities have. So we know that these activities need to be run in parallel. Next activity, boil tomatoes. Can I boil my tomatoes without or before I complete my buying? No. It has a dependency. Buy tomato is a predecessor for this activity, which is a successor now. So it is important that I first finish my buying process and then only I can boil them. Prepare spices, again, first I need to buy spices, then only I am going to prepare that. Yes or no?
Yes.
And then I have these two activities, boil tomato and prepare spices. So how would you boil the tomatoes? You will wash tomatoes, put it into a vessel, put it for boiling. Then are you going to stand there and watch them getting boiled? Or parallelly you would want to do something else?
And if somebody purchases a ready-made pure,
that is a different thing, we'll come to that later. We'll come to that later.
By the time it gets boiled, we will create a...
You'll prepare the spices. So we will identify these activities also as the one which needs to be run in parallel with some amount of overlapping gap. Okay. Then mix them. Mixing is an activity which has dependency on two activities. What are those two activities? Boil tomatoes and prepare spices. If tomatoes are boiled but spices are not ready, you cannot mix them, or other way around. If spices are ready but tomatoes are not boiled, you cannot mix them. This activity can be done or can be started only when these two are over. And once you have mixed them, then only you can say that yes, it is ready to serve. So this is called as activity sequencing. This will help us find out what is the right order of doing the thing, of doing this work, and also what type of dependencies we have. So for each activity we need to do the dependency determination. What we need to identify is whether it has any dependency or not. If yes, what type of dependency it is, whether it is a mandatory dependency or discretionary dependency. So what is a mandatory dependency in this example?
For mix both the item, boiled tomato, prepared tomato should be there.
Absolutely.
And boiled tomato and prepared spices, first we need to buy them.
Absolutely correct. That is a mandatory dependency.
Critical path.
No. We are not coming to critical path. Just focus on what we are covering right now. Mandatory dependency means the work is such that you cannot proceed with your successor before you complete the predecessor. So first you have to buy tomatoes, then only you can boil them. This is a mandatory dependency. Then comes your discretionary dependency. Discretionary dependency means it is on the discretion of project performing team that in what order they want to do it. Buy tomatoes and buy spices. Is there anyone who is stopping us from doing it in different areas? No. As a project performing team, from our experience, we know in what order we have to do this. Isn't it? So we decided to club these activities. It is not a condition imposed by some external factors. We have decided, so it is called as discretionary dependency. And then you have some internal dependency and external dependencies. Internal dependency is what? Suppose you have mixed them and now it is ready to serve. Before that you need to take approval from the quality team. That is the internal dependency. External dependency is you are constructing the building, you need to take a certificate from the fire department.
And
Suppose
in market tomato is not available, so then spices are
correct. Correct. So remember that while translating our requirement to scope, there was one tools and techniques. What was that? What was that? Remember that? Alternative generations. We will not decide at this time, but we will keep that information handy. Okay? If we go, because assumptions, remember I have been telling you that assumption log must be maintained. You must document the assumption. So when we are preparing this activity list, we are assuming that the raw material will be available to us on time. Okay? And one of the assumption is the tomatoes will be available within this price.
Then only we have to
If
purchase
not,
spices.
yes, no, something else. This could be some other things also. Whether or not you get tomatoes, you will still have to buy spices because the spices will be needed for your puree as well. You cannot put the puree as it is.
But to add a puree, I would like some different type of spice.
Correct. So what you do is you will make your assumption log. In that assumption log, you are going to document it there that this is based on the assumption that the tomatoes will be available. The right type and the quality of the tomatoes will be available in the market. If not, you need to have this calculated and considered in your alternative generations. And also your make versus buy analysis which will do in procurement. Who is stopping you from buying this soup from outside also? Isn't it? But that decision has to be based on certain facts. Clear? So we know the dependencies now. Now we need to start adding the duration, effort estimation. How many resources we need and how much time we need. So let's say buying tomato, going there will take 1 hour. Buying tomatoes will take 1 hour. And coming back will take 1 hour, or let's say 30 minutes. Going will take 1 hour, coming back will take 1 hour. And since we are doing these activities in parallel, the travel time will be common for all, common for both activities. The additional time will be your time that you are going to spend in buying spices, isn't it? That too based on the availability and the resources. you can define whether you want to send 2 resources or you want 1 resources. Depending on the nature of the work, suppose if I send 2 resources, travel time will be common, and then one will buy tomatoes, one will buy spices. So what will happen is, if you have only 1 resource, how long it will take? 1 and 1, 2 hours, and then 3 hours. If you add 1 more resource there,
2.5.
it will become 2.5 hours. So based on the resource availability and the requirement and the constraint, you will identify how many resources you need and what is the duration of these activities. Okay. How much time you need to boil tomatoes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes? Okay. I'll go by your expertise. How much time you need to prepare spices?
30 minutes. 1 hour.
30 minutes?
In some organization, minimum criteria 30 minutes.
Okay.
For the
Let's
going
going by
30 minutes, it is not considered as an activity.
yes, that is actually a point. So that will be an input when you are defining the activities here. If you feel that the duration is too small, you probably would want to merge it with some other activity. Okay. So prepare spices will also take 30 minutes. Mix them. How long it should take?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And ready to serve, how long this should take?
Quality control. Should we consider quality control or just
Only for this activity.
Total.
Total.
30 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
I will call it as 0 minutes. Why? Because when I reach to this stage, I know my soup is ready. And the moment soup is ready does not mean that I am going to serve it on the table. I need some other factors also or some other conditions also to be fulfilled before I can integrate it with some other piece of work. For example, one of the deliverable in the soup was breadcrumbs. I will have to work on that deliverable also.
सूप बनी गई है પછી ગરમ તો કરવો પડે ને.
And
Then કર્યું એમ ના કર્યું 10 મિનિટ ખાલી મિક્સ કરવાનો ન થાય.
नहीं रेडी टू सर्व मगर फिर
no,
ये सब्जी
listen, sir.
दूसरी आइटम बन जाएगी बाद में.
Sir, please pay attention. The guest is arriving at 7:30.
એટલું તો ડીપમાં ના જતા રહો તમે.
Okay, the guest is arriving at 7:30. You have to deliver the entire project at 7:30. Or maybe a phase of it. And you started working on this phase, let's say at 3 o'clock. By 4 o'clock or 5:30 your soup is ready. Does it mean that you are going to serve the soup immediately at that time? No. You will wait for other starters also to get ready. You will also wait for the customer to arrive. But the moment you have marked this as completed, you know this work package is now completed. You may wait for integration of this module with some other module. But at least you know this module is ready. Isn't it? Another thing. So you are playing the role of the sponsor and you inform someone at home that we have a guest coming today at 7:30 for dinner. You call up during the next break and then you want to check how the project is going. So are you going to ask the person, did you go and buy tomatoes? Did you go buy spices? Did you go and boil tomatoes? Are you going to check that? Considering that you have only 10 minutes time and in 10 minutes time you have to take that bio break, you have to have some water, tea, coffee, you need to relax. You have only 1 minute to make a call at home and check. All you are going to ask is whether the soup is ready or not. That is what you do in your reporting. Your senior management is not expecting you to prepare a dashboard. Okay, I went there and I bought tomatoes and I got delayed by 5 minutes. No. They just want to know whether the soup is ready or not. If yes, was it ready on time? Okay, fine. What happened? Why it was delayed? And have you ensured that the other pieces will not get delayed? So every work package must have a milestone which will mark either the start or completion of that milestone. You can have one milestone or you can have two milestones, but it must contain at least one milestone. Two milestone means you can add one more milestone here to show the start of this work package, and you will definitely need to have one to mark completion of it. Is that clear? And milestones will always have the zero duration. Zero duration means no effort needed. No effort needed means no resource needed. No resource needed means no cost. Milestones are just representative tasks.
Why so? Because let's say the thing is ready. Now the project manager will inform the sponsor that this particular thing is ready.
Okay.
That person will going to ask, yes, show me something.
Okay.
He may ask,
Okay.
let me test.
Yeah.
So
If that is the
why
situation,
these are all these activities which project manager has to do are hidden lot of times. That is
Okay.
what we have to experience.
Construction.
inform sponsor and invite him for testing or something, let's say 10 minutes for that also.
Yeah.
But then you must add one milestone after that,
Ready to serve.
soup
Is ready.
completed or ready to serve. So the last milestone will not last, the milestone which has to be at the last will represent that all the work defined for this work package is completed and your deliverable is completed, ready to be presented to the next.
How to ensure the hours of project manager in any particular project?
Project manager is omnipresent. Okay, you cannot calculate the hours of project manager here because I told you any process it is done by a team. So you have, let's say you are the manager and you have one resource, Nishant Shukla, working on that. You have Nishant Shukla and you have Neeraj and you have Amit and you have Sandeep working on different activities, different estimation. Each one of them is doing that.
No.
You are sitting in your cabin, okay, and you are just planning for the next work, you are thinking of the next work, or you are responding to a mail to the sponsor that yes, we are working on the activities and be assured we will be doing the estimation in time. Each one of us did our estimation and we entered that into the plan, and then we come to you and we show all the estimations to you. You will say fine, okay, you leave them on my table and I will check them and I will get back to you. Now you are checking them, you are using your own expertise, using your own judgment, how much it should take, whether it is correct or not, whether it is fine or not. Once it is fine, you say, okay, we'll send a manager mail to the sponsor. It is impossible to track the amount of time and effort you have spent in finalizing this or approving this.
But at least percentage of hours, because what
I'm
happened?
coming to that. So what happened is, when we were doing the estimation, you were exchanging mail with the sponsor that please do not worry, be assured that we are going to do the correct estimation. To write that two lines of mail, you must have thought for 10-15 minutes. Can you quantify that time?
No.
No. That is why the cost of project manager is always calculated in administrative overheads. You cannot, technically, as per PMBOK, you cannot bill the hours spent by project manager to the customer. Project manager is omnipresent.
That is why he is not the valuable resource. That is what I feel. No, I mean
No. Project
What
manager is the most valuable.
I know what happens. We have this kind of.
You are questioning my authority. Sorry.
Ideally, what happens? Let's say we have two types of project: fixed price and TNM projects. Now, in fixed price project, I have seen that the responsibility and availability of project manager is more than in TNM projects. because in TMM projects, client is more informed about what is going on, and because he has to pay money at the time, and he has to be involved because every week or every fortnight he is paying for whatever work is going to be done.
Correct.
So he is constantly in touch with the people who is actually working on the project.
Yes.
In fixed price, he is working on the closely with the project manager. So in that front, I have seen the majority hours which are going to be spent by project manager is always more. And though he spends more hours, they are not considered majority of times by even by the.
I got your point. Now tell me one thing. In your organization, do you have multiple projects? Are you managing multiple projects?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you define that? How much time you should spend on one project and how much on another one?
There is no definition.
There cannot be any
Yeah.
definition. There cannot be any definition.
And that is why
Now what happens is, if you have a fixed price contract, out of this constraint, scope, time and cost, which other constraint will be the most important one for you? If it is a fixed price.
All three of them.
So
Time is
From the organization perspective, your performing organization perspective, cost is the most
Cost.
important factor, isn't it? Because you know that you have a fixed amount, $100,000 coming from this project. So your focus will always be on minimizing the cost. That is the first priority. If it is a time and material, then you are concerned mostly about what?
time.
Then you are mostly concerned about the scope,
Scope and the work that is delivered.
isn't it? About the scope. Now, who will define that how much time we should spend on this project, on that project?
Me.
Program.
Because
No,
program.
no individual in the world will define that. It is depending on the criticality of that project. And you as a project manager will have to define that to what level you want to exercise the control on this project. Isn't it? And it is actually affected by hundreds of other factors also. As a project manager, once again, let me just finish, I'll come to you. As a project manager, you must learn to delegate the work. Delegation of authority.
That is what we do, but then that's right. But importance of project manager is I think-
No. It is. You know.
Does it
if you
Does it depend on the
Resource
cost?
and-
I mean, the profit of the company also from
see the
both the projects?
correct. No, but not the process.
History.
No. You must have seen in all these movies, be it Western movies or Indian movies, mythological or anything. If any war is happening, the focus of the enemy is to kill the captain. If the captain is killed, immediately the morale of the army will come down and they will start running away.
Yeah. Now importance of the project manager. We have a situation in the company. The project is going on since last 2 years. I have 6 billable resource for that project. Now the project manager has resigned. He is reporting to me. Now I don't have, that is a technology for which we don't get people easily. So the client is going to be affected because we have other 3 proposals for that particular client which is currently going on. We cannot afford to even tell them that this person is leaving us.
Correct.
So now in this particular situation, I don't have another person whom I can introduce. I am trying to find some solution out of it. So I said that this situation, even before 2 years he joined, the project was going since last 3 years. So for 1 year we had one other person who was working. They trusted them, client trusted him, but then he left and we have put another resource. Now I am planning that I want to take the control so that I can transfer it to anybody, delegate it to anybody. But now the situation is such that we are not able to decide that if the project manager is leaving, then who is going to take his place? Because
Correct. So what happens is, I'll tell you. There are multiple dimensions to it. First is, suppose you have the resources here. This is your performing organization. Then you have the customers. And you have some people there, the customer. these people are directly communicating with the customer. Each one is working with the customer, each one is getting, and they are exposed to the information. If that is the case, then everyone will say, we don't need a project manager. काम तो चल ही रहा है ना? Isn't it? This is a wrong approach. Absolutely wrong. Even if the work is being done, still is a wrong approach. There has to be a communication plan. There has to be a communication process. That from our side, there is only one person who is going to communicate with the customer. This arrangement works fine till the time you have no issues. The moment one issue comes up, even if it is a small issue, you will see immediately within seconds it is blown out of proportion.
That is fine. Okay.
I'm coming to the next one.
Yeah.
Now the next situation that you're saying is that, okay, people keep on changing, people keep on shifting. The approach, the philosophy that Genpact follows is faces are going to change, not the process. Okay. So the biggest insecurity that the customer has is, if that person who is doing my work, if he leaves, who is going to do my work? He already knows so much about the project.
Yes.
Because the information that that resource has is all in his mind. The customer is scared that if this person leaves, whether the new person will be able to take his position immediately or not. Everyone in this world is replaceable in professional world, not in the personal life but in professional world. Everyone is a replaceable resource. If you don't have one manager, you will get the new one. But it will take some time or maybe a long time to win the confidence level of the customer. Provided,
How soon it should be informed
okay.
client?
So for that the key is the documentation.
We
If you have
processes and-
everything processes oriented and documented crystal clear person, a new person can come and take up the load and work in probably a week's time only. You don't need more than a week's time. You won't believe in Cisco. When a person goes and a new person joins, the way they have structured it, that person is given hardly a week's time to get into the situation. Next week onwards, he will be with his full force, he will be facing the heat. He cannot say, I just joined, give me some time. We have given you 1 week. What else you want? All the information is there.
And ideally, a project manager should handle multiple projects, or he should handle one.
It depends. If the project manager is handling multiple projects, he is probably doing the program management. Okay. Program management will require different approach. So I really cannot say it is right or wrong because that is how the organizations are structured. PMBOK assumes that one project manager will be dedicatedly working on one project only. If there are multiple projects, it is program management. But reality is different than theory. Absolutely different. Then probably the person is doing the program management and then you need to upskill yourself to do the program management. Okay. And another important thing that comes here is, we have processes fine, we have documentation fine, your rapport with the customer. The customer must have that confidence on this, you or in the performing company, that no matter what happens, I know this guy can take it forward. Even if the team leaves, he or she knows how to do the damage control. That confidence, there is no methodology in the world which can teach you. That is something you will have to do it, you will have to gain or you have to earn that at yourself. And how you can do that is by following the right processes. So, do you think this will be able to help you to an extent?
Not in this situation. Currently, we are facing this situation.
What is the situation? That your person is about to leave?
Yes, he is about to leave, and our management has become skeptical about it, and they are not able to take the decision because the sales guy is saying that anyhow just retain him, give him whatever he wants, and he is saying no, I want to leave.
So in this case, any case, what happens is, first thing is you must inform the customer.
Yeah, so that is what now.
And how you inform is, don't tell them that okay, this person is leaving, so I don't know what will happen. No, you do that, you will lose whatever confidence left over, whatever is the leftover confidence, that will also be gone. So you tell them, okay, so this person is moving out. and the kind of documentation and the process we have, we are confident the other person, the new person, the backfill will in no time be able to take up his position. So you are giving a bad news to the customer, but at the same time you are giving some comfort also to the customer.
So is it good if we introduce somebody from the team who is working with them?
That is subjective. That is subjective. That is very subjective. I mean, had I been at your position, I probably would have done the same. Because the customer, depending on the customer, depending on your previous historical relationship with the customer, you will take the decision. If the customer is very, very conservative and skeptical, it means your company has not done a good work in past. Okay. So the best option for you is, and that is what the best practice also suggests, inform the customer as early as possible. You will get a question like that in the PMP exam also. You will definitely get a question like that. And then you will have to use this option, select this option, please inform as early as possible. Yes sir, so now you had some inputs on that. Yes sir. I'm sorry I stopped you because I was in the flow.
Yes.
I thought let me complete that first. Yeah.
It is covered.
Covered? Okay. What about you sir? You fine? Okay. So what we need to do now is, we have done the sequencing, we know the dependency, we know the duration of each activity, and we are going to link them. So what we do in this process is, we need to define our activities.
Sometimes what happens, sorry.
No, it's okay, please.
Yeah. Let's say sometimes customer is so much well read about certain things. Even we don't know that much being in that technology.
Yeah.
So what happened for one of our customers for e-commerce website, he has come up with a huge plan. He has taken ownership from BMW and he wanted to sell the product of BMW from various distributors from US. So he has come up with a huge plan that I want to build an e-commerce site. The admin front was so huge, which technology to use. He was so clear about the technology that this is what we want to use. So everything he has kept in his mind. But then when we started the project, we felt that the amount of work he wants and the time duration he has kept in his mind are too different and is not matching. Plus, he has done his homework so good. Even sometimes we also felt that, wow, before we think he's coming up with the ideas that this is how we want to do, this is how. But the end product that came out after everything, the entire admin portion that he has decided, like there are multiple DCs who will be supplying the items, how I'm going to decide filtration criteria of DC. Let's say I have few DCs in Canada, few in California, few in Florida. Now we have to decide from backend that someone is purchasing item from Florida. So which distribution center will provide the item to that person? Then there is algorithm written for that. That this DC then based on the criteria of that distribution center, that he has given me more items or more discount, that is how I'm choosing his products first and selling it first. Okay. So all those engine that he has thought in his mind, he has put in lot of effort before building this entire.
But did it work or not?
No, it did not. It failed.
It failed. So why it failed?
Horribly failed because we being a technology consultant failed to make him understand that at a first phase you do not have to consider lot of complexity in your software. With the timeline and the budget that you are planning and the resources that you have in your hand. So we could not understand his mentality and we could not convince him to do lesser thing first and
do a POC,
yeah,
proof of concept, and then go with the full fledged.
Exactly.
So tell me, was it the individual or the company?
He was individual.
Individual.
And he was so determined that even our.
So you got that solution developed for that individual.
Yeah, for that individual.
and he gave you everything.
Yes.
So when it failed, did he blame it to you?
No, he did not blame. He was okay with that.
He accepted?
He accepted it because.
Then fine. End of the story. Because see, what happens is,
No, but
what
then
happens
we
is-
felt very bad as a company
Yes.
that we could not succeed in
Correct.
his dream or his idea.
correct. So what happens is, again, the project management process will not help you in that.
Okay.
What will help you in that is your soft skills.
Deliverables.
Not even the deliverables, your soft skills.
Mhm.
So a person, when the individuals, the reason I asked you whether it was a company or individuals, when the individuals, you get this kind of individuals, they are so passionate about
Yeah, he
what
was,
they want.
yeah.
They are so emotionally attached to it.
And we
That
want
they
to
are-
take the project
Yes.
because our company has that tendency of not taking project from individual
Okay,
because that's create problems.
correct. So what happens in this is, because that person is so emotionally involved with the project and he is so passionate about it, if you want to tell him something, he will not even listen to you.
Exactly, that was always the case.
Okay.
He never listened.
Again, the approach for that is, okay, so have you heard of that story that a sparrow was in Himalayas and it was snowing very heavily, and once that sparrow saw a monkey has found a red fruit, a small berry, and he thought that it's a piece of fire. So he gathered some leaves immediately, something, and start doing, pushing here there so that it catches fire. And the sparrow went and said, "You are actually a stupid person. What you're doing, this will never give you the fire." He listened one time, third time, second time, third time, he killed that sparrow. Okay? The way you go and give the advice is actually going to make the difference. The way you told the people that, okay, sir, this approach is actually not going to work, will make the difference. So if you straight away start pointing out the shortcomings in his plan, he will never accept that because he is so passionate about it. And if you go and approach, okay sir, fantastic, this is perfectly alright. But I have some few suggestions, I have some certain things. So first thing is, these are the things you can never discuss and resolve over phone or email. There has to be a face-to-face meeting.
He came down here for 6 months.
Okay.
And even then also it failed.
Okay.
That is why we felt
It
very
is, so did you give your suggestions to him?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Did he
project
accept those
manager-
suggestions?
Few he accepted, few he did not. And I joined the project at the later stage.
Okay.
Where
So this
it
is
was
actually
about to fail.
this is an exceptional case.
Yeah.
So in this, what happens is there are sometimes there are some people who said, okay, let it go and fail. Even if it fails, it will be a good learning for
Yeah,
me.
because the project manager who was actually working on
Yeah.
that project, he has stopped coming to office because he was fed up of that client and the team because they have worked for almost, at one point in time, they have worked for almost 72 hours at a stretch. Entire team, 12 people,
Yeah,
is
I
worked
heard. So what happens is these kind of situations and the people, what you need to do is you need to, instead of going down, drilling down, you need to keep going up and up. You need to first understand what is his objective, what is his sole objective, why he is doing that. That why is the answer for that. Because he already had done the homework, he already knew what is going to be done. You did not have that much of visibility from the business side, you must be working on the technical side. Is this kind of situation, going down at the micro level will definitely never help you. Because the person is so determined that he want to get it this way, you start going up. You should have challenged the entire objective of this project also. Technically, you are not at all in a position to challenge. What is the business objective? What is the purpose? And you should have made it clear that, okay, we are doing this project for you, but it is not going to give you the business, it is not going to serve you the business purpose. If you tell him that, sir, you are asking me to add this functionality into your supply chain software, this functionality will not work, he will never accept that.
Yeah, he never accepted.
He will never accept that this functionality is not going to work. He will always say, this functionality, I know it is going to work and I want it this way only. You keep linking it upwards. and you inform him officially and formally and written also that your requirement traceability, you are not able to link this feature to the business objective. And this feature is going to put the main hindrance in your meeting the business objective. Keep going upwards, keep going upwards. At some point of time, he would have said that, okay, I am doing this only for my passion. I want this to be developed. Whether it works or doesn't work, fine, I don't care. But I want this product in 1 month's time. Then fine. Then you don't need to worry about that.
Because this kind of people think then a baby can be delivered in 1 month if 9 mothers are there.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
it's a huge problem.
Then if that person had said that, okay, I am passionate about it, but I want this to give me a revenue of $1 million in first year. And then you should have said that, okay, it is not going to work. The moment you disorient his thought process with the business objective, then he will start asking the questions to tell me why it is not going to work. And then we use it this way.
Situation, let's say if the project that I am talking about is what happens in my organization, I have been put in a situation where there is a fire. I am a firefighter for a lot of projects. So once it is completely messed, then I am putting, I have to firefight and bring that into.
I have been into that situation, and my philosophy in all the situation was always go to basics. Go to basics. What is the bottom line? And start working on the bottom line. Do the reverse engineering. Okay. I was put into a project in HP that was a total customer experience project. So HP at one point of time was getting beating in all the product segments, and I was heading PMO for an entire unit. So the customer satisfaction, the WOW, voice of workforce, no, not WOW, VOC, voice of customer. You must have heard of voice of customer. So customers, regular customers, they are given this survey and they have to choose that. They were supposed to score, rate HP on the scale of 5. And out of 5, HP's average score was 3, 3.1, 3.2, which is pathetically bad. Pathetically bad. Company's vision and the mission was to take it to 4.5. I was given the responsibility of that program management. It was a program. So I started working on it, and when you talk to the people, strategy people, they will all have big slides, strategy slide, high funnel slide, 10 slide, 15 slide, and they all talk very high funnel language. If you talk to them, after half an hour, you will feel so motivated that, man, with this I can earn $200 million in just 1 year's time. But when you start drilling it down, then the slide just disappear, the person also will disappear. So what happened is, I started working in the reverse way. I was given only 2.5 months to bring this project on time. And then I said, okay, if the VOC is impacted, fine, I don't care what area it is impacted. Why the customers are not happy? Okay, so that work was already done. We already had the list of all the factors where it was, where people were dissatisfied. I said, first of all, we need to have a clear visibility on how many processes we have. No one in HP had idea in that how many processes are there in the GBS, that is the back office of HP. So first of all, I made a list of all the processes and all the details, who is the process manager, which function it belongs to, which tower it belongs to, and what is the team size. We came across 237 processes. Then we did the further classification that, okay, these people, how many are freshers, how many are mid-skill, how many are high-skill, and who is the frontliner, who is interacting with the customer. Then we talked about their language skill, their communication skills, because the crowd there was mostly South Indian. Their dialect and accent is different. So when they speak to their counterpart in US, they get frustrated. They don't call LMN, they call yel yum yen. So yel yum yen, if you are repeatedly asking something to the US customer, and the people in US are they can be arrogant also. Especially the Europeans are extremely arrogant. They will ask you once, what is it? You again say yel yum yen. They will find, so I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. You tell them again yel yum yen, they'll put the phone down.
That happens. We have seen that we stop hiring South Indians.
So what will happen is, then we started working on the basic training and the direct training and the accent training. We started from that level. Instead of going from the high level big funnel slide, we started working from the bottom level. So I think when you get into this firefighting situation, the key is go to the basics. Start from the lowest level of the project. And then you will be able to clearly identify where the problem area is. So when we do the root cause analysis tomorrow, we'll talk about this. And now we quickly need to proceed. We have lost some time, but I think these discussions are important for the practical.
Every project have some formula.
What formula?
Manage the project.
Methodology.
Yeah.
Every project must have a methodology. Must follow a methodology actually. And the methodology must be a constant for all the projects. Minor changes are acceptable, but not the major. The organization must be applied at the methodology must be applied at the organization level. You cannot have different methodology for different projects in one organization. So, I hope I was able to answer most of your questions. So what we need to do in defined activity is, we will have the plan, we will have the baseline, EEF and OPA, and then we do the decomposition. That we already did. Rolling wave planning. Rolling wave planning is buy tomatoes. Buying tomato, now you have no idea how long it will take. Sometimes it may happen that how long it will take, what will happen, whether I will be able to go there or not. Isn't it? So what you'll do is, you'll plan it at the high level. You will plan it at the macro level, and when you reach to that point, then only you will say, okay, what to be done. For example, best example is desert. Okay. Now desert is ice cream. Now ice cream is what? You can find out, okay, we can find out the process, but you do not have any information what is the customer's preference. Whether he like the mango flavor or queso pista flavor or what flavor. And you have decided that okay, we will buy it from outside because we cannot make ice cream inside. So what you'll do is, when the guest arrives, we will ask him that what is it that you want, and then we will immediately go and buy that ice cream. Or maybe we will order it over the phone. Or maybe we will take the customer there and guest there and we'll have the ice cream. So it means you have defined, you have identified a deliverable. But how that deliverable will be achieved or completed, that you will decide when you reach to that point. Is it clear? So we will just identify the high level milestone and high level deliverable, and how it will be achieved we will decide only when we reach to that point. We will not do the micro level planning in the beginning itself. Clear? And the outcome you are going to get is your activity list. Activity list. Activity attributes. You remember WBS attributes? What were those attributes? Characteristics of that deliverable. Okay. So we said the guest wants tangy soup, not the sweet. How you can make it tangy? So when you are going to buy tomatoes, do not buy those red tomatoes. Buy the green tomatoes, because they are slightly tangier in taste. Your activity remains the same. Buy tomato, but the way you are going to do that activity, that specific information is called as your activity attribute. So the activity is buy tomato, and attribute of this activity is what? Buy green tomatoes only. The tomatoes should not be soft. Pilpile tomato nahi rehna hai. Fresh, hard rehna hai. Isn't it? That is your activity attribute. And your milestone list. Each and every work package must have a milestone in the bottom which will represent the completion of that, and when all the milestones are achieved, then you will say, okay, our project is delivered. Any questions on this? Easy? Sir? Fine? Clear, sir? Once we have defined the activities, now we need to sequence the activities. And sequencing is what? We talked about the sequencing here. We'll link the activities. So what we need for this is, after we sequence the activities, we are going to get our project schedule network diagram. Schedule network diagram means you will be able to see all the activities, and you will see the link between those activities also. So yes, sort of Gantt chart. How we are going to do that is, we need our schedule management plan, we need our activity list, attribute, milestone list, project scope statement, EDF and OPA. Any question on any of the input here, that why we are using it here? With this, what we are going to do is, we are going to use our precedence diagramming method. So we will not just use it here. We will say, okay, the first activity is our buy tomatoes. Output of this activity, or after you complete this activity, what you are going to do next, then what you are going to do next. This is called as your precedence diagramming method. Okay, which activity is preceded by what? We will do the dependency determination, that is mandatory, discretionary and internal, external. We will identify for each activity what dependency it has on others, and we will use our leads and lags. So we will identify where we need to insert the lead time and lag time. So the lag time is called as we'll first talk about the lag time. Lag time is called as planned delay. Planned delay. Lag means delay. And when we are using it here, it is called as planned delay. So suppose, I'll give you an example from construction. Okay. You have constructed this room, the plaster is done. Next activity is color the walls. Now between plaster and color, you need to give some time for the cement to dry. Be it 1 day or 2 days, let's say 2 days time, isn't it? Now for that 2 days time, are you going to ask someone to take a chair and stool and sit inside and watch it getting dried? Are we going to do that? Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. So what we'll do is, we will insert a time lag in between. Ma'am, you are able to follow? Looks like you are lost in your own thought processes.
No, this is construction example, so I am thinking that installation process of ours. I am always in.
Yeah, I'll come to that also. Okay. But this is our construction, this is our completing the plaster, and this is our wallpaper or color the wall. In between, you need to give it some time to dry up. Now drying is a process where you need not to have any manual effort. For example, in your case, suppose you have to deploy some services at the customer side. You bought a server, you raise a PO. And you ask the vendor to deliver the server at the client side. Once it is delivered, then only you will go and start installation process. Okay. Vendor says, I need 3 days time to deliver it there. And the price of delivery and the cost of delivery, everything is included in PO. It is not your headache. So are you going to ask someone or team member to go and sit on the doorstep there and watch it getting coming? Of course not. Isn't it? So what we'll do is, we will insert a delay of 3 days in between. Okay. How we are going to write that? So first we need to identify what type of relationship these activities have. So for that, we have 4 type of dependencies here. First is your finish to start. Finish to start means the finish of predecessor will lead to the start of successor, or successor cannot start unless the predecessor is finished. This is the default and the most used relationship. You boil your tomatoes, you buy tomatoes, then only you can boil them. You first do your programming, then only you can do your debugging or testing. Okay. This is written as FS, finish to start. Next is start to start. Here, no matter what the duration is, no matter when these activities are getting over, but start of successor is aligned to start of predecessor. Successor will start with predecessor only. It cannot start it before that. So, going to market. Okay. We have to buy tomatoes. When we go there to buy tomatoes, we will buy spices as well. Okay. Suppose you got delayed to start to buy tomatoes. Can you start your spices activity buying spices also now? It also will have to be rescheduled accordingly, isn't it? So that means what? Your buying tomato is a predecessor to buying spices. If this is getting delayed, this will also be realigned if they are linked like this. Their start dates are aligned. Successor will not or cannot start before predecessor, or cannot start before this has started. If the predecessor getting delayed, successor will also be rescheduled to match that date. Clear? This is written as start to start. Next is just opposite of this, called as finish to finish. In this one, instead of aligning it to the start date, we have aligned it to the finish date. Fine? 340. 340. Yeah. We have aligned to the finish date. No matter what the duration, no matter when they are starting, but they will end together. And the finish of successor is aligned to the finish of predecessor. For example, this concrete. I'll again give you a very common. Don't think that I'm giving from the construction or some other area. The purpose is to understand the concept. If you are able to understand the concept, fine. If not, please ask me. So you have to construct your house and you have to lay down the concrete there. Now when you are laying down the concrete, you need a mixer, cement mixer, which will give you the constant supply of concrete. You cannot finish, you cannot say that okay, my supply is getting over here. Let your roofing go ahead. The mixer will have to be on till the time your roofing activity is going on. Isn't it? It means we have a condition that this will have to end together. We have a dependency. So this is called as finish to finish. Is it fine? Sir, is it clear? Like when you have to do a delivery. So before the final delivery, you will say that okay, our testing must complete and our documentation also must complete at the same time. Then only we can go to the next activity, which is our kickstart the handover process. Okay. This is written as FF, finish to finish. And the last one is start to finish. Start to finish is a rarely used kind of activity. What it says is start of predecessor will define the finish of successor. And my logic says any example that you can think of for start to finish, it can very well fit into finish to start also. All you need is just swap the activities. As a project manager, your life is already complicated, isn't it? Why you want to complicate it further?
How you can have a start to
Okay.
because
So this activity, let's say this is your kickstart the deployment process. So suppose you have constructed a building, okay, it's a huge building, and tomorrow you are going to start the kickstart meeting. Tomorrow you are going to do the your kick off the deployment process. The entire deployment process is, there are certain activities which will take 2 months time. Now the condition you have is, when you start your kickoff meeting, you must ensure that 2 months after that you are completing your deployment. Or 2 months is too long, let's say 10 days after that you are completing your deployment. Whenever you start, the meeting may take 1 day's time, but if you have sent the invite and if you have the meeting, you will have to finish it within 10 days time. This is clear? My question is, you already know the duration of this?
But it can
You
be-
already know the duration of this? Tell me what is stopping you from doing it start to start? Tell me what is stopping you from doing it in finish to start? The reason I suggest this one and I will discourage you to use this is, every information that you document in the project must be self-explanatory. If you have to take 15-20 minutes to explain this to your stakeholder, it means you have not captured it properly. If you are presenting it in a slide and you need to spend 10 minutes only to explain this to the customer, it will not help you. And when the purpose can be achieved by this arrangement, why not use that? But I gave you the example, if you feel there is one activity in your area which can use this start to finish, please go ahead and use that. There is nothing wrong in that. I am also not saying it is wrong. I am saying there is a better way of doing it also.
So this is the logic, but representation should be start to start or finish to.
Yes. Representation means this may be the condition, but maybe you can do it in a better way, easier way, simpler way. Simplicity is the key. Try to use the simplest form of data, simplest form of structure, simplest form of relationship, and simplest language in communication. So that you don't have to waste any effort or energy in explaining this again and again to all set of stakeholders. Clear? Any doubt, ma'am? Then we have something called as lead and lag time, and I told you about the lag time already. So we were talking about in what relationship we can have this. So the lag time can be there in your finish to start, start to start, finish to finish also. So this is our predecessor, this is our successor. And there is a lag time for that reason, let's say the plaster or the delivery of 3 days. So how we are going to write it is as FS. It means the relationship between these two activities is finish to start. And we always use the precedence diagramming method. It means the first one will always be predecessor, second one will always be successor. So finish of predecessor will lead to the start of successor with a lag time of 3 days. Okay, so the successor will start 3 days after my predecessor is over. Is it clear? Any doubts, any questions? Sir? Fine? Okay. We can also use this lag time in start to start. Tell me in our example where we are going to use that. In our dinner, in the soup. Yeah. Start to start with the lag. Where we can use this?
Preparing the spice.
Absolutely correct. So we have identified boiled tomato and prepare spice as the activities which need to be run in parallel. But of course there has to be a time delay, there has to be a lag, because you probably would need 2 minutes to put the tomatoes in the vessel and then put it for boiling, then only you can get onto that. So what you'll do is you will say SS plus 2 days or 2 minutes or 2 hours or whatever lag you have. We can also have this in finish to finish. We can say FF plus 2 days. So wherever you see the plus sign, it means what?
Leg.
Absolutely correct. And lead is just opposite of that. So let's say you have two activities here. Requirement gathering and requirement analysis. These activities require 10 days and 10 days each respectively. Total time needed for these two activities is what? 20 days. So you prepare your schedule and you get the first cut of your schedule and you realize the duration is too long. Now what you need to do is you need to squeeze the duration. Let's say it is going outside the boundary that is stated in our project scope statement or in the project charter. What we need to do is we need to see how we can squeeze the duration, isn't it? For squeezing the duration we use two techniques. First is called as project crashing. You know what is project crashing?
Merge the not merge the task, but
Parallel activity.
No sir. Project crashing. Any idea sir? Project crashing is adding more resources to the project so they can work faster. If you have to construct a wall of 10 meters, one person doing that will take 10 days time. You want to finish it faster, you will add one more resource. Now they can finish it in 5 days time. That is your project crashing. Second technique is called as project fast tracking. Fast tracking is we will try to insert or do some amount of overlap between the activities. So how we'll do that is, so we identify this as an activity where we can have some overlap. No, we'll come out. We can have some overlap. So how we will do that is, we are saying that okay, this team who is doing our requirement gathering will continue to work the way they were working earlier, they were supposed to work.
After 1 day.
When they have 5 days of information collected, we will pass on this information to the next set of people who will begin with their analysis. And as and when they make progress, they'll keep getting data from the team who is doing the requirement gathering. They'll keep on passing the information to them. So the earlier the relationship was FS, finish to start. Now it has become like this. And how we are going to write it is FS minus 5 days. It means when 5 days of work is remaining in predecessor, the successor will start. We have been successfully able to create or insert an overlap of 5 days. So how much time these two activities will need now?
15 days.
15 days. Is that clear? Sir, is it clear? Sure?
Sure, sir. I have done it. Actually.
Great, fantastic. Sir, what about you? Are you able to follow all these things?
Yeah.
Are you finding it useful?
Hmm.
What about you, ma'am? Is it clear? Great. So that is our lead time and lag time. So when we insert our lead time and lag time, what we are going to get is our project schedule network diagram, where all the activities will be shown in the boxes and the links will show the dependencies and the sequence also. Fine? So with this, we'll take a break. We actually have a delay, but I didn't want to break the momentum because today fortunately we had the light lunch also. So our energy level was high. I mean, at least we had the light lunch. I'm not sure about you. So we'll take the break, much needed break.
This type of possible, so that these two activities.
Yes, it is very much possible, but you need to show some arrow here also. See, it can be possible that two two activities have one common successor. One activity can have two successor also. It is very much possible. In fact, in real time world, you will have most of the activities linked like this in a complex structure only. We'll see one example after when we come back from the break where we are using this. Clear?
Because I have MS project